Savard Sitdown, brought to you by Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Well, I guess first things first, welcome back, man.
Yeah, thanks. It's good to be back.
Does it feel like home?
Yeah, it definitely feels like home. You know, I've been back and forth to St. Louis the entire time I've been away, so yeah, it definitely feels like home.
All right, it's good to have you back because not only you were a really productive player, but you're a guy that always handled yourself real well in and out of the locker room. And let me pick up on that. Dave McGinnis was telling me this week that he thinks you're smiling because you had Mac in Tennessee. He thinks that this team has has a chance to keep on having success because they've got the right attitude in the locker room. Do you sense that?
Yeah, definitely a great attitude amongst the guys. I think you're really going to see, guys week in, week out improving. I think everybody takes the right attitude of what the mistakes they're making and the positive criticism that happens on the field. A lot of guys can take that the wrong way, and that's one of the things I think has been overwhelmingly, taking me aback because I can see the rookies taking hold of that, and I can see the young guys taking hold of that criticism.
Mac's fun guy to be around, isn't he?
Oh, man, Mac's always a great guy. And actually, Mac and I go back even before I was at Tennessee. He was actually coaching the South team when I was coming out of college.
Okay.
So for the Senior Bowl.
And he made an impression on you all the way back then.
Oh, yeah. Mac was a great coach to have then and a great coach, one of those guys that you just love to play for all the time.
All right. Speaking of guys you love to play for, Jeff Fisher, okay? You had a year down there in Tennessee with him. Okay, so you're back with him. You tell me, what is it about Fish that all you veterans love? Why do you love to play for him?
One, he's a player coach. He's a guy that totally understands, as a veteran how to work things through, as a rookie how to bring guys along. He's totally fair about things. He's like, hey, I'm going to ask you to work, but when I ask you to work, we're going to get the work done. So don't lax on me when I give you those opportunities. So, when he throws you a bone, everybody understands that. Don't mess this up because he treats you well. He does the things right that he should, and he's never going to tell you a lie. He's not going to tell you anything that he doesn't feel is true.
He treats you like men.
Yeah, definitely. You're a man in this game at this point in your life anyway, and he only proves that point.
Well, you're definitely a man in this game. 12 years now. Would you have thought coming out of Georgia back in the day you'd get 12 years in this league? That's something to be said.
Back then I was just hoping to get the first 3 or 4 out the way and try and figure out what it was going to be from there. And now once I hit 10, it was like, all right, well, let's see how long we can keep this running. Yeah, and my next goal is always to get to 15, but we're at 12 now. We'll see how many more we got.
You're in a different phase of your career, though, than when you were here before. Okay, are you in the whatever I can do to help phase of your career?
Yeah, pretty much. It's more of like that guiding principle and to be ready on the field when they need me. So that's kind of what my approach has always been, and I've always been a guy who's been pretty much a team player anyway. So It's whatever I've been asked to do, I've always tried to do the best of it.
Are you taking a role in mentoring Alec Ogletree?
Yeah, that's a part of it. And of course, mentoring all the guys. I mean, we've got a lot of young guys. I don't just mentor and spend time talking to Alec and answering questions he may have. I've also got to spend time with young running backs, what I see that they're doing, or receivers, or even tight ends. I got to do work there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we can always talk about, and that's how to look at it from a linebacker's perspective or a different perspective on every set.
Yeah, they've invested an awful lot in bringing Alec here, though. Do you think he can have an immediate impact?
I definitely think he can. He's a guy who reminds me a lot of myself when I was young. He's definitely bigger than I was when I got in the league, but a young, athletic, ready to go guy, a good, strong base and core, and just needs to figure out those little minor adjustments to get himself ready for the game.
Jolon Dunbar played very good football here last year. How good can this unit be here?
When I look around the room, it's a great unit all around. Of course, James and I were here together before. Jolon is another great vet. I know some history behind him with another guy I played with, Dan Morgan. I asked Dan about him back then. He kind of gave me some heads up. Alec, of course, we just talked about. Joseph and Jonathan. All those guys in that room. Jabbar. Everybody in that room, I really look at and say, man, no matter what way you look or what way you try and pull it apart, even Josh and I are doing a lot of work together out on the field now, and it's good to see where he's at, because it's always, you've always got to depend on everybody that's out there, and everybody's taking hold. Everybody's taking a piece of their pie and trying to make that thing, swell in the oven.
Have you ever played with anybody that talks more and woofs more than Jolon? He doesn't ever for a guy who's so soft-spoken with us off the field, man. He's never stops yapping at guys on the field.
Hey, that's perfect though. You know, I have played with a couple of guys who are really talkative on the field, and those guys are always helpful. You know, they're making sure everybody's on the same page, and that's one of the good things about it. Is, you know, you can always see Joel on talking to the back end, talking to the front end, talking to the mic. You know, he's making sure everybody's together.
Good to see you back, man. Thanks.
Good to be back.